Brian Powell of I Run Far here with Alex Nichols before the 2015 IAU Trail World Championships. How's it going, Alex?
Pretty good. Yeah.
This is a big race. A lot of teams internationally.
Yeah.
A lot of great runners. Does it have a different feel for you than?
Yeah. It's compared to like a lot of the races I've been in, it seems like it's a combination of the competition from many different types of races put all together into one. Just like, yeah, it's really, really deep.
It really is. I mean, there's a few standouts. Yeah, Luis Alberto's and that kind of person, but there's 30 people that could be in the top 5 even.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's what I've been thinking a lot about this race is like, there's so many people that can be good on a single day that you really never know what's going to happen, especially in a long race like this.
Does it feel at all like the North Face Endurance Championships? Because you've run that a couple times. There's a lot more. There's usually a lot of depth there. Or is it even stronger? Yeah,
I think people might disagree with me, but I would say this is stronger. Mainly because it really is taking so many different countries and people that maybe we've never heard of that have been training like crazy, and they could come out of the woodwork and just. In the U.S., I think we kind of know who the contenders are. Mm-hmm. In a race like this, it could be anybody.
In the U.S., you usually get like a Francois or Miguel Eras or somebody, but those are very known factors.
Yeah.
Whereas here, who knows what the Norwegians are going to do, or the Lithuanians, or whatever.
Yeah. No, it's just, I don't think you can take anybody for granted because you just never know what's going to happen out there.
So does that mean you have to take it out hard to be in contention, or do you just have to, knowing that you can't control the other people, just run your own race?
I'm always one to run my own race.
Yeah.
I think it's pretty obvious. But at the same time, I think you have to be aware of at least where you are in the field. Mm-hmm. As long as you have a specific goal of where you want to finish. I think it doesn't matter who the people are in front of you, but just knowing where you are, what you need to do to make up the gaps, that's important. Instead of being like right on the front all the time.
Now, being part of a squad, 3 members score out of 5 that'll be running for Team USA.
Yeah.
Does that change your strategy at all? Like, is there any talk of Americans, running conservatively to like have a bunch of good finishers? Or do you just go all out and risk blowing up? Because there really are different takes on that.
Yeah, I personally would really like a team medal.
Yeah.
And I think it's gonna be maybe harder than what we think to do that.
Yeah.
So I'd really like to see our team not blow up.
Yeah.
But I think it's still just up to the individual because you can't tell somebody to race differently than what they're used to.
Mm-hmm.
So
I mean, like you and Alex Varner are probably on paper maybe the 2 stronger team members. Like,
yeah.
Do you send out like a Tim Tollefson to like go, maybe like take it up the next notch? He's sort of newer to these races, maybe, and
well, I guess we'll have to talk about this stuff. We haven't really sat down as a team or anything.
But it's something maybe worth talking about
as
a group. Like, if that's it depends what the group's goals are. If it's one person trying to get on the podium individually, that's different than focusing on a team medal.
Right. So that kind of stuff could happen. Yeah. And maybe that's something we need to be prepared for in case another team does it. We don't want to get sucked along into some kind of crazy tactics.
Yeah. You've been running really well of late. I mean, last October you ran a really strong race at Templier, and then you ran a great time at Red Hot Moab 55K. You ran the second fastest time, beat Rob Crar.
Yeah.
Were you feeling strong at sort of end of last year, beginning of this year?
Yeah. I think it's just like getting things dialed in the longer races. Just knowing what to expect and what things are going to feel like. Mm-hmm. And then knowing what my strengths are and being able to use those to my advantage.
And you've had a break since mid-February when you ran Red Hot. Do you think you've continued to maintain that fitness, or what's been happening?
I had some injury issues kind of through April, which was unexpected, but I really prepared for this race in a different way than Moab. Moab's fast. Like, we're running sub 7s for 33 miles, and like this race is over 9-minute pace for the winner last year. So I haven't worked as much on speed and tried to get just more strength, which is, it's different, but I think fitness-wise, it's similar, just in a different way.
You're probably on the American squad, the most experienced with European racing by far, and you've seen a little bit of this course. Like, what advice would you give your teammates in terms of this terrain?
Well, looking at the course, I think the downhills in the second half are going to be really crucial, because if you can kind of get through the first half without trashing yourself, it looks like there's some really big downhills that people could be blowing up on. So staying relatively fresh for those.
Speaking of staying relatively fresh, even if you were to win on Saturday, it's going to be your longest race ever, time-wise,
Yes.
and distance-wise.
Yeah.
So how are you feeling ahead of that challenge?
I feel okay, actually. I did a pretty long, hard run, I guess about a week ago, that just gave me a lot of confidence that the distance is something I can handle without too much issue. I'm more worried about just the sheer elevation gain compared to distance or time. I've never done anything like this course.
17,000 feet or plus or minus gain.
That's what makes me nervous more than anything else.
And you saw the type of vert that is. That's straight up or straight down.
Yeah, so it's going to be just a long, tough race.
Have you been able to focus your training in on that sort of climbing and focus descending at all?
Yeah. I mean, both before and after the injury, I was just like really focused on getting a daily basis of up and down all the time, and then even just working on hiking, making sure my hiking is up to par, because especially later in the race when you're kind of stumbling around, it's really easy to lose ground by just not moving forward.
Does that feel strange? I mean, just a couple years ago, you're just doing all the short, I don't want to say short, but shorter races, more intensity. You're running everything. Yeah. Like, does it feel weird to, I've got to work on my hiking today?
Yeah, it took a transition for sure, but it's about being prepared for the race. So before the Red Hot 55K, I didn't do any hike training. Yeah. But this is a different kind of race, so I had to get ready in a different way.
And you feel ready, right?
Yeah, I think I do.
All right. Well, best of luck out there on Saturday, Alex. And
yeah.